My name is Helen McIntosh, student number 9152717, and this is the presentation component of CRP 428. In this assessment item, we had to write a work program, and my senior syllabus to work on was the Earth Science senior syllabus, and it was for a fictitious college, and we had to contextualise units covering the major topics of the syllabus, being our Earth and its systems, hazardous processes and materials, Earth's resources and human impacts on the environment, our Earth and space and time. This was done in order to explore and meet the general objectives of the syllabus, which are attitudes and values, knowledge, conceptual understanding and application, working scientifically and using information scientifically. The best way to do this is to utilise an instructional design method. The purpose of an instructional design is, it's the process by which instruction, which is teaching, is improved through the analysis of learning needs and systematic development of learning experiences. There are various models of instructional design, such as ADDIE, the Kirkpatrick model, and Agne's model of instructional design. I chose to use the Dick and Carey instructional design model, and which is depicted in this graph here, thanks to Collins 2015, where it's an extension of the ADDIE model, where we analyse, develop, and implement the program. The first part is to analyse the instructional goals, which is kind of working backwards slightly from the exit criteria that's outlined in the syllabus. But in order to do that, we also need to analyse the instructional, the audience that we're teaching it to, and their needs and their strengths. From that, we are able to determine and develop how we're actually going to implement this and what kind of assessment instruments we're using to do so. And there's also the reason why I chose this model over others is because there are consistent feedback loops for reflection and therefore improvement, which I think is vital, particularly dealing with the school in question. With this criteria, just outlining the steps there, the first step was to clarify goals and objectives being the selection criteria, and also the general objectives outlined in the syllabus. The instructional analysis is to determine what the students already know and their pre-existing experiences that they come into the classroom with already. Also looking at and analysing their behaviours and their learning characteristics. From this, we're able to determine learning goals and also performance objectives for each of the students. It is also then at this point it's good to identify our assessment plan, and from that kind of backtrack slightly and work out an instructional strategy, the appropriate learning materials needed to do this. And there's also two forms of assessment, which is also another form of evaluation, being formative assessment and summative assessment. The Dick and Carey model, it is iterative, meaning that we have this, it accommodates for constant and continuous reflection and improvement throughout the process. This model in particular allows for meeting the needs of variable situations, and is also flexible then for particular learning outcomes. Now, I really like this because I find this model because learning for me is an organic process. Students aren't fixed variables. Every student is different. Every student learns differently, and they also have different skill sets and interests, which will filter out or enhance their learning. Schools also are not fixed systems, and the resources that we need, or maybe we would like to use, aren't always available. So it's important to be flexible. And in doing so, with this constant feedback all the way through, we can also identify and address needs as they arise, rather than waiting to the end of the work program, which would be the end of Year 12, and then realising that we could have done things differently, and by then it's too late. Another model I came across in my research, which I kind of feel fits in really well with the implementation of the model in general, is I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, I'm sure, but Gagne's 9 events of instruction. I feel they fit, for me, best in the actual day-to-day, like lesson implementation. and how you actually go about teaching the students and implementing the teaching strategies that have been outlined in the work program. So the events of instruction for these models is the gaining attention of the students, inform the students of their objectives of what they're going to be learning, to kind of stimulate recall of their prior knowledge, what they bring to the classroom, which is quite a rich resource, presenting new content, providing leading guidance, helping them with their performance, providing them with positive feedback, assessing their performance, and then enhance retention and transfer. So the situational analysis, this is the first part of any of the instructional design models, and it's important because as the QSA outlines, it's really important for teachers and our school systems to be reflective and responsive of the school community. It is really important that we select topics that are appropriate to the students, so that way you have a point of reference and relevance to them, that we're able to tailor learning techniques to students' interests. Assessment can be tailored to match the learning experiences that the students have already had. It also allows for effective differentiation and address the learning constraints that could be unique to a particular place. Like, for example, the region that I've been looking at, there's a lot of downturn, so we have to be aware of what they may have missed out on in comparison to metropolitan areas. And it also allows for comparable assessment for the students' achievement. So the college I looked at, I will not try and pronounce, but it's a college that is prep to 12 and has 1,460 students. It is located in a regional mining town of Coopville, which has just under 12,000 people. It is a very strong mining town. It has also strong links with the agricultural and pastoral industry in its region. It's currently suffering from the down cycle of the boom and bust cycle and the effect of drought. Lots of mines have gone into care and maintenance, and so this has impacted on the community. Lots of people have left, and there's kind of a bit of a negative vibe on the community. And lots of people are kind of really concerned about work that's kind of their priority. It has nearby a national park, Deadman's Gorge, and the community, it's a very welcoming, down-to-earth, multicultural community who have a great interest and love for the outdoors and where they live. The implications of this on the work program then, it comes in various forms. So there currently is low student engagement in STEM in this school. And many of the students, they don't really understand the relevance of STEM in their lives, and therefore they don't aspire to STEM-based jobs because they don't really see themselves being capable or a future in it for them. And because of what's happened recently in local industry, there is a family push for immediate job entry and that job security. There's also a vibe in the school where boys are far more practical and hands-on, and they don't believe they're smart enough to be able to engage in these things. And women seem to be kind of smarter, although having said that, though, they don't back themselves enough in their interest in science. Critical thinking, literacy and numeracy skills are low, which does impede their ability to succeed in science in terms of being able to read text and dissect it. So they're the kind of challenges that need to be addressed and woven through this work program. So in the designing phase, which looks at learning objectives and assessment instruments and the different kinds of ways of teaching, I really tried to, with my contextualisation of the units, draw upon the kids' interests in their locale. So with the major themes, the first one, our Earth and its systems, in my work program I have focused on mining and the discovery drought, as it's called, the fact that a lot of the mining ore bodies have been found already and have been exhausted. So now the ore bodies are further down within the earth. So it's trying to kind of pull them in at that level where they're currently at, and they're aware of people leaving for this reason and lots of exploration happening around trying to find these ore bodies. So that's kind of like their hook, their buy-in. Also extending on this in this major topic. Other unit things I've got is the rock cycle, and trying to explain to them why Coatesville is such a unique town, and in its where it's situated because it's got coal mining, copper mining. Well, how is that? Why is that? And also, is there another one nearby? And that kind of comparison, try and get them to really understand and appreciate where they are. Also, exploring Deadman's Gorge nearby. Lots of the community and the kids that camp there regularly. There's different events that happen there, fishing competitions and canoeing events and that kind of stuff. So getting them to come back and actually view it through different eyes and try to embed there an Indigenous perspective. There's an Indigenous high percentage of Indigenous kids in the school and in the community, and kind of honour and respect them and get them to feel acknowledged as well. Moving on to hazardous earth processes and materials, I really try to look at mine blasts here because, there are underground mines nearby. Whenever there's a blast go off, then there's 12-hour shifts. Everything around them vibrates. And again, they have a point of relevancy. They can kind of understand where the town sits. They aren't exposed to earthquakes at all. Boys in particular have quite an interest in blowing things up. So you're looking at of how things shift to try and keep them engaged at that point. And also being able to utilise existing tourist venues nearby. There's a tourist simulation of an underground mine because people can't go on site, obviously, for safety reasons, to be able to use that to get them to have a feel of what it's actually like to be in a mine and that kind of thing as well, and keep them engaged. Our Earth and Space and Time. Trying to connect with local scientists or amateur scientists in the community through the Astronomy Club. Again, trying to bring in relevance to their immediate world. And also in this unit, we kind of look at climate change, how it's affected drought in the community, and also, again, trying to include Indigenous perspectives with Dreamtime stories and the creation of the universe. Going on, I try to kind of disrupt worldview with the fun theme name of a unit being the most valuable thing in the coal mine is not the coal, because fossils are usually found in coal deposits because that's how they formed. But trying to get them to look at resources in a different light, and also trying to get them to appreciate the riches they have in their backyard, and exposing them again to other specialist streams of science and meeting the people who do them and make them realise, well, hopefully I hope the students can realise what they're capable of in meeting these people, that it's actually a potential pathway for them. The last theme is Earth's resources and human impact on the environment. I try to look at two different perspectives here with resources going, particularly the fact that there's all bodies reducing, mines going to care and maintenance, of how we can actually look after our resources and be better with them. And also there's been a bit of a shift in the community where people are really more aware of the impacts of mining. With the smelting and the processing industry that happens in town, there's obviously sulfur fumes that go over the town. So they're aware of that these things are kind of happening, and trying to get them to look at things critically and not just accept things on face value. So there's an assessment item in there that looks at that, and also trying to highlight women's increased role in mining in the agricultural industry, trying to for women to realise, and then for the boys to realise as well, that women are in all these industries and doing quite well at them. Planned learning experiences, trying to draw upon their interest of camping, fishing, and everything outdoors. I've got different experiences that are kind of very short, like maybe one lesson outside identifying clouds, in the lab looking at a hands-on mineral identification, being able to get them to do things. So those who don't feel that and also trying to go over to bridge that literacy gap, they're able to do things in a hands-on way. The mine simulation as well, astronomy night, field trips, going out to Deadman's Gorge, the fossil field trip, actually been going out and meeting a paleontologist and learning how to preserve and take care of fossils. Hopefully a mine site tour, exploration geology, and then going to look at the CSIRO experimental farm on a dairy farm out there. And that also kind of bridges the different industries as well. So you've got mining, you've got agriculture, and also the tourism industry being fossils and the national park. I deliberately have switched the order of the units, and that was moving the topic 4 and 3. And the reason why is because the intended learning experience to the local fossil area I wanted it to happen in term 2 when it's autumn and cooler. So when you're going to be out in the sun, playing in the dirt, looking at these fossils, it's not going to be 40 degrees as it is in this town. So that was an intentional switch of major topics. Assessment items. I've deliberately chosen a variety of assessment instruments. So they were hands-on. There are 2 traditional